We will start with our legs crossed, sitting up nice and tall. Let those knees drop open, extending through the spine. Arms are resting in your lap. And just pause for a moment, slow it down. If you want, take a couple inhales and exhales. Really let go of all the air. Sometimes the exhale can be almost more important than the inhale because we sometimes retain air and then we're only breathing in this part of our chest. So if you fully purge your lungs, then you can fully take a deep inhale and revive yourself. And then begin to find a regular inhale and exhale, noticing the breath as it comes in, noticing the breath as it goes out. Paying particular attention to your joints, to your hips, to your shoulders, to your jaw, that's a joint too. And we tend to hold tension in all of those areas. Shoulders, those can be all areas where we retain stress. So try to let them go. And if you want to set up an intention for your practice, you certainly may do that. If you want to dedicate your practice, you can do that. You don't need to do either. Most important is just to breathe. Inhale, exhale. Letting your breath help decide the pace when you're moving. And letting that breath allow you to sink deeper into each posture when we're being more static. And take a deep inhale, extending those arms upwards. Interlace your fingers, stretch up overhead, and just go side to side. A couple lateral stretches each side. Taking deep breaths, feeling the breath fill the side body. As you are compressed to one side, you'll feel the other side can breathe more while that side is compressed that you're leaning into. So enjoy that. Feel what that feels like for a moment. And then release and open your eyes if they're not already. So we'll start with a little hip work. We've done this before. I'm sure this has a name, but I think it's like rocking a baby. So pick up one of your legs and just hook your arm under there. And then it's kind of up to you. So the idea is that we're opening and stretching the thigh and the hip. This is actually the warm-up to put your foot behind your head, which we will not be doing today. But so you can think of that. So it's kind of an up and an out. I like the movement, like you're rocking a baby, because it starts getting that joint of the hip moving, which is important. There are stages of getting it behind your head, but it is not something I do particularly well, so I don't teach it. So you'll notice, like if you lift it up, maybe you get more of a stretch if you pull it in, if you push out. Everyone's hips are going to be different. So just kind of feel where your hip, where your body kind of needs that work in that inner thigh. Good, and go ahead and release that leg down. We're just going to go right onto the other side. So linking that arm underneath the leg, whichever one you're doing. And the same thing, maybe just gently start rocking. You should feel it, start to open up a bit. Maybe not to get it over your head, but open it up. Maybe some of you can get it over your head. I think I could when I was little. I blame it on my narrow hips, but I have seen male yoga teachers with hips as narrow as mine do it, or wider, like just bigger humans, and they do it. So it is just like anything else. It's practice. It's working towards it. So again, noticing if you want to push it out, if you want to pull it away. What do you need to make that hip start to feel a little more loosey-goosey? And then bring the soles of the feet together into diamond or butterfly. Diamond's a little further out. Lifting up and then hinging forward. Letting the head drop down. And take a couple breaths through there. See if you can exhale and let the hips release. Let the knees drop towards the mat. Rising up, open those legs out, toes towards the ceiling, sitting up nice and tall. So you can sometimes sort of like move the flesh of your glute out from under you. Sit up tall, flex the toes, knees towards the ceiling, and walk that forward. So thinking of a long spine, so you're hinging forward rather than rounding down. So you might not get very far down, which is okay. Breathing into that. Take a couple deep inhales and exhales, see if you can release a little bit more deeply into it. Bring yourself back up, bring that left foot into the thigh, and let's just press up, doing that sort of hip flexor stretch. Reaching the right arm overhead, pressing into the right foot, take a deep breath. And lowering that back down, and we'll just switch sides. Other leg comes in, push up, and extend. And lower back down. Come on over onto hands and knees. Pulling that belly button in. Lifting through the spine, tabletop spine, shoulders down and back. Think about separating the shoulder blades, which will tend to have you not so rounded, right? We want to have everything, when we're in neutral, we're a bit more flat. And let's extend the right leg back at hip height, so not kicking up and arching the spine, but keeping it right at hip height. Extend the left arm, pushing through that right leg. So I like to flex my foot only because I feel like you get more of a hamstring stretch, but there's no hard and fast rule. If you feel like you can extend more with a pointed toe, that is fine. Lower both down and lift. Drop down and lift just to hip height. So you're going to the floor and then back to where you started, hip and shoulder height. 3, 2, and 1. Open that out. So again, trying to open through this hip. So depending on your flexibility, you might be able to keep that right leg at hip height. Mine drops, but try not to let it drop too much. See if you can keep it lifted, squaring the hips. Taking a breath. Abs are engaged here. Bringing it back, and then bend that knee and reach that left hand back. Can you grab your foot? Can you kick into the foot, lift it up a little bit of a back bend, opening up the hip flexor, the quadricep. Good, releasing that, swing that foot forward, planting that foot down, and then hinging into this, opening up the opposite hip flexor. Inhale, extend those arms upwards, reaching towards the sky, pressing forward, opening the chest, taking a deep breath. So thinking about driving forward and lifting up. The down kind of happens without you having to think about it. And release that to the mat. Step the right foot back, coming up to plank. Feeling free to modify this onto your knees if you prefer. Otherwise, holding here. We're going to do a few planks today. So while we are here, we're going to come over to our left-hand side plank. So placing the left hand in the middle of the mat, pivot onto your left foot, option to drop your left knee, always an option. Extend the right arm up, and then reach that right arm over so that you're giving yourself a long stretch, stretch, stretch. Good, bring it back up, lift the top leg, the right leg, and just do a couple lifts and lowers. And then the same thing we just did, bend that knee, bring your hand and see if you can catch your foot or your ankle. Again, you can do this with your knee on the mat. Perfectly fine. Kick against kick your foot rather against your hand so you feel a stretch here in the front of your thigh rather than bending back into it. And then release that, come back down into your plank. Chaturanga all the way down to the mat, pressing up into cobra. Squeezing the elbows by the side, shoulders rolling down and back. Contract the glutes so you're really lifted, really strong. This shouldn't feel easy. Hopefully it feels good though. Push up and back, come to child's pose. Just for a breath to release the spine. And then come back up onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Extend the left leg, pushing the left leg away. Extend the right arm. So we're working our core here. Belly is lifting, keeping ourselves steady, and then we drop down and lift. Tap down with control. Much like other exercises, that glass is balancing on your back, keeping it steady. And lift up, open that out, arm at shoulder height, hopefully like close to hip height. Belly button pulls in. Back to center, bend the left knee, reach the right hand back. Kick into it. So again, feeling the stretch in the front of the leg, hip flexor area. Releasing that, swinging the left foot forward, planting it down, hinging forward. Coming on up, opening the chest, opening the shoulder, driving forward, feeling a stretch of that right hip flexor. And releasing, hands to the mat, curl the toes under, push up and back, plank, or modify this on your knees. You can also come to forearms if your wrists are bothering you. Pivoting this, so bringing the right hand to the middle of the mat, rotating over to your right side plank. Arm stretches up and then stretches over just to give yourself a nice long stretch. And then the reason I have you bring your arm up is more for stability. I just think you're a bit more balanced here as you lift and lower that top leg. And if the arm up is not comfortable, that's fine. You can change it. You can drop the knee if you want. And then bend that knee, catch the foot. So notice here, you may be able to see from behind a little bit better. My knee stays in line with my other knee. I just press against this hand to get the stretch. It's hard to see that because nothing's really moving. You're creating your own stretch. Release that, coming back over, option to drop to knees, lowering all the way down. And again, pressing into the hands, elbows squeezed by the side, chest up, open, shoulders down and back. Curl the toes under, push yourself up and back, coming to your first downward facing dog. Bending one knee, bending the other knee. Pressing both heels into the mat, both palms into the mat. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Think about pushing the sit bones up to the sky. And take a deep breath there. Extending the right leg overhead, bending the right knee, dropping it out towards the opposite side. So right foot is dropping towards the left, right hip on left. Make big circles. Those of you who were in class on Wednesday, I think last week, totally did this on one side and not the other. I fixed it in the video, but live we totally missed it. Try not to do that today. I'm going to reverse direction. We did pigeon on one side, we did this on one side, totally not on the other. Sorry. Extend that leg back up. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and go into pigeon from here since we're going to be working on hips. So bring that right foot across the body. Press into it, shoulders pulling down and back, open through the chest, extend the legs. So trying to square the hips, try not to drop and twist. Nice and lifted. Keep stretching that foot behind like you're trying to get into the splits. Option here to bend the back knee, and same as we just did, option to bring a hand back and catch it. So if your left leg is behind you, you're going to reach back with your left hand. You can stay right here. It should feel like quite a good stretch on your quad. And if you want to take this deeper, you can keep bringing it towards your body. Maybe you can hook your elbow. And then if you have the balance, using your right foot as a kickstand, maybe you can release that hand. So the full version of this is grabbing your toe. I can't grab the toe, so this is how I modify. I'm close, but I'm not there. Taking a breath. And releasing that. Pressing up and back, coming to your plank. Coming to side plank again on the left hand on the mat, rotating over. Arm up. Option this time to lift that right leg. Other option is to come into like a tree pose. Just make sure you're not pushing on your knee here, please. My toe is just above my knee and there's no pressure on it. I'm opening up through here. Again, other option is just to lift the leg up. Holding, holding, holding. And release that, coming back to plank. Pressing up and back. Chaturanga, down towards the mat, flipping the feet, lifting up to your up dog if you'd like to this time, hips off the mat, pressing back, downward facing dog, holding down dog. Extend the left leg, not going to forget the side. Bend the knee, drop the foot, opening up the hips. And making big circles. Big hip opener circles with that leg. And changing directions. Good, coming back up, bending that knee. Swinging that leg forward, planting it, not planting it, bringing it across the body, coming to pigeon. Extending the back leg behind. So again, we're thinking about stretching the back leg so that our inner thighs are getting a stretch, like a splits. This is very much a half splits. Not rolling onto our glute. And you continue to walk this foot up. When you see the sort of final version of this, the foot is actually at a right angle, or the knee rather. So you just don't want it tucked behind the body. So you're always, always, always working on bringing it out to here. And that just depends on your joints, your mobility. Staying lifted, chest tall and proud. Proud pigeon, not humble pigeon on the mat today. If right leg is behind, you're feeling the hip opening in the left, hopefully. So adjust yourself so that's what you're feeling. If you're really, really loose and open in your hips, this won't feel like as much of a stretch. And then same option if you want to work on your royal pigeon, so you could just be bending that knee a little bit. You could be bending it more. If it can find the crook of your elbow, you could stay here. The balance part's hard. Like I said, that front foot kind of acts as a kickstand. I really use that left foot to balance when I lift the right hand. And again, this is a modification. This isn't the full version. I can't do the full version. And releasing that down, pressing into your hands, pushing up, coming to your plank again. Shifting this over to your side plank. Right hand on the mat, left arm extends, lifting that left leg. Again, this could be done with the foot on the floor. And if you want to find that tree variation, again, without putting pressure on this knee, please. It's just delicately there. Or it's extended. And release that down, coming back to plank. Chaturanga, just to 90 degrees, or all the way to the mat if you're not working on this more advanced version. Up to your up dog, press back to down dog. Pressing into the heels, pressing into the hands. Extending the right leg up, same thing, bending the knee, dropping the hip. This time, option to come over into wild thing. Left leg is extended, right leg is straight. Reaching the right arm overhead, looking back. Long stretch to the whole body. And flipping back over, right leg extends up. Swinging it forward, planting it at the right edge of the front of your mat for lizard lunge. So if you want to have a block, you could put your forearms on a block. You can stay on your hands, but you get a better stretch if you can bring forearms onto the block or onto the floor. Notice my knee over my ankle. It's not way back here. The back leg can stay lifted like I have it, or you can drop it down onto the mat. Pressing against that right leg with your shoulder, but keeping the right foot planted in the mat. It's a really good one to prepare us. Inhaling and exhaling. Good, pressing yourself up, moving that foot to the middle of the mat, step that foot back. Final side plank, left hand on the mat, pivoting over to the right, right arm extends up. Option to come into tree, and then advanced option if you want, we'll see if I can even do it today, grabbing the toe, and then see if you can start to extend that leg. You might not get it all the way straight, of course. Breathing into it. And releasing that, coming back to plank. Chaturanga, you can always skip your chaturangas and go straight to your downward facing dog. Left leg extends up, bending that knee, stacking the hips, and flipping your dog into wild thing. Right leg extends, left leg is straight. Pushing the left hip up, reaching overhead. Taking a breath. Flipping yourself back over, that left leg extends up, swings forward, plants on the left-hand side of the mat, and then you come down forearms on a block or on the mat. Right knee can pop up or it can be on the mat. Pressing your left shoulder against that left inner thigh, trying to open up. And again, really focusing on the breath, taking some nice, long, deep breaths here. One more, inhale and exhale. Pressing yourself up, wiggling that foot to the middle of the mat. And stepping back to plank. And last side plank on this side, right hand comes to the middle of the mat, shifting over. Extending the arm, coming to tree, variation of Vrksasana. And then grabbing that big toe, and maybe you just stay right here. Or maybe you work and see if you can extend that leg. Holding and breathing into it. I suppose you could do this with the knee down. I haven't tried it. And releasing that, coming to your plank. Chaturanga, elbows to 90, pressing up, up dog, and back to down dog. Holding there. Scooching towards you as always, I don't know why. And then walking the feet towards the top of the mat, letting the head hang over, letting it release. Bending the knees, rolling yourself all the way up. Deep inhale, extending the arms upwards, a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, release. Inhale, flat back lift. Exhale, release. Step the right foot back. Coming to lunge, step the left foot back to plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Extend the right leg up. Let's just do 5 hinges forward. So bringing knee to chest, out to the front of your mat, and back up. And 4, 3, 2, stepping the foot forward, rising up, warrior 1. So the back foot pivots at an angle, opening the chest, nice bend in the front knee, but keeping the hips square. Hands could come to heart if that was more stable. Taking a deep breath. All right, so we're really thinking of our hips here. So right now, I'm going to switch sides because my back is to you, or it will be to you. I got myself confused. All right, you want to pull the left hip, the back hip forward. It wants to open out this way. Think of this hip joint as inwardly rotating. It's like an in and down. So the hips are square, which is why for some of us, you don't want as deep a bend in your front knee. You can go deeper, but just notice if your hips start pivoting as you do. Now, focusing on that hip, transition this to Virabhadrasana 2. So now it's an outward rotation of that hip as the arms drop open. Nice deep bend. So I can deepen the bend in the front knee as I transition. Maybe you find that's true too. Shoulder blades squeeze together, down away from the ears. Stay nice and lifted through here. There's a tendency to lean in this. Keep yourself nice and vertical. Push into that pinky edge of the back foot that protects the knee joint here. And your gaze is over the front fingertips. Coming down to our side angle bend. So elbow comes across the thigh. Keep this body rotated forward. Extend the left arm. And if you want, you can reach it overhead. It doesn't matter if you reach overhead, straight up, or over. What matters is that you stay open. If you want, you can actually bring that hand behind the head, Press your head into your hand as you turn to look towards the ceiling, and that might help you keep that chest even more open. Good, press yourself up, reversing the warrior. Left hand floats behind the back, right arm comes up. Taking a deep breath here. Good, cartwheel down to the mat. I'm just going to change sides so that I'm not back to you this time around. Coming back to plank. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Left leg swings up, 5 hinges forward. 5. And 4. 3. 2. Last one, plant that foot down, pivot the back foot, rising up, Virabhadrasana 1. Chest is lifted. Drawing tall through that invisible filament, lifting you up by the crown of your head. Maybe the chest begins to open, maybe there's a slight back bend. Noticing that inward rotation here. Good, transitioning this, Virabhadrasana 2. So notice your foot positioning. You want the front heel, if you were to draw a line, it hits the arch of the back foot. More or less. Shoulders pull down and back. Lift here. Notice if your pelvis is pointing downwards and your bottom is sticking out, pull that under you. Find that focal point in front of you, nice and strong. Left hand across the thigh, reaching that right arm either straight up, overhead, or if you want, behind the head. See what helps support you to keep that chest nice and open. Because I want you to get this sensation so that as we move towards the bind, you're working with this open chest. You're not rounding. And sometimes having the hand back there rather, helps you get that sensation. And pressing yourself up, right hand behind the back. Left arm lifts up, reversing your warrior, deep breath into your side body. Good, cartwheel that down to the mat. Step the left foot back. You can skip the chaturanga. We're going to end up doing a lot of these, so you can always skip and go right to your down dog. Breathing here. Option to take a break and come down to child's pose, or stay right where you are in your down dog. All right, right leg coming up, opening that out towards the right elbow 5 times. So hinging forward for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, we'll do that zipper move. So dropping the knee down to the wrist and back up to the elbow. Dropping down and up for 3, for 2, for 1, little ab work. And then bring that foot and plant it down in front of you. Press up, warrior 1. Holding for 1, maybe 2 breaths. We'll move a little quicker each time. Find that alignment and then transition, warrior 2. Coming down to our side angle bend. So right elbow, right forearm across the thigh. Get a nice deep bend in this front knee, meaning if you need to, move that right foot forward. Bring that hand behind the head to find that really open position. And then see if it's accessible to you to move this right hand down to a block by your pinky foot, or your pinky toe rather, or to the floor. And once you're there, if you want to bring that arm up, so the arms make a T. So for a lot of you, a block or a pillow or something's really going to help. Because notice, I want you to keep that same openness. You can see my back, it's really, really flat. Not rounding towards the mat, looking up towards the ceiling, taking a breath. Good, pressing that up, straightening the front leg. I'm going to wiggle that foot a little bit closer. Coming into triangle, hinging forward, reaching, letting that right arm go down, left arm come up. Same idea with a nice open chest position. Deep inhale. Exhale. Transitioning this to half moon. So bending your front knee, right hand finds the mat, and you need to scoot so I don't come off frame. And then again, you could, if you have a block, you could move that block, put your hand on the block, and then launch yourself up. Left leg is lifted. You're stacking your hips, again, trying to keep the chest open to that same wall. So my back is to you the entire time. It's okay, it'll be the other way the next time around. Good, place that foot back down, warrior two. And then cartwheel, left hand overhead, right foot steps back, chaturanga dandasana. Working back to your downward facing dog. Pressing both hands into the mat, heels into the mat, always rolling shoulders down and away. Extend the left leg up. Hinge forward 5 times, left knee to left elbow. Coming forward for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, elbow or knee rather drops to wrist, back up to elbow. Wrist and elbow for 3, for 2, for 1, lift up and then swing that left foot forward. Grab it if you need to and scooch it forward. Rising up, Virabhadrasana 1. Opening chest and shoulders, taking a breath. Focus on a point in front of you. Find your drishti point. Don't lose it as you transition to Virabhadrasana 2. It's like your body rotates around, but your head stays stable. Side angle bend, starting here, left arm across the thigh, right arm reaches up. Deep bend in the front knee, scooch that foot forward if you need so that you're not tracking out over your toes. Chest is open, hands behind that head to keep it that way. Make sure that block is there if you need it, coming down to the floor or to the block, and then go ahead and release that hand, extending up, still looking at the ceiling, nice open chest. Careful you're not reaching back. One adjustment I often do here is people tend to kind of overstretch their shoulder. That shoulder should be straight up here. Think about rotating the chest back, but don't drop the arm back. Pressing up, warrior two. Extend the leg for Trikonasana. I have to move my feet closer together. You probably do too. And hinging forward, 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 reaching forward. Release that left arm down, right arm comes up in triangle. Not putting any weight on that left knee. Engaging the abs here. When your arm is just free, you have to use your core to support yourself. Bending the front knee, hand finds the mat. Woo. And I'm always trying to make sure I don't go off frame and it ends up messing me up. And then coming up into your half moon posture. Chest open, hand could be on block. Keeping rotated towards the front. Well, actually, I should not say rotated. You're not rotated, but it feels that way sometimes because I want you really pulling that shoulder back, that chest open. And then coming back, warrior two. Cartwheel the right hand down to the mat, stepping the left foot back, finding plank, chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. Stepping the right foot forward, followed by left, forward fold, halfway lift, flat back, releasing down, inhale all the way up, exhale, hands to heart center. Pausing here for a breath. Power option here to hop back, or you can step one foot back followed by the other. Inhale, extending up, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step, or jump back to plank. Let's hold plank for a moment. We won't do side plank, but I want you to hold your regular plank. So pulling the belly button in, option to drop to knees. You know you're always better off in modified plank than dropping your hips and hurting yourself. Use the breath. We're going to come chaturanga, giving you the advanced option to hold chaturanga. So bending the elbows, If it's too much, go all the way to the mat. Otherwise, those of you working on building that strength in chaturanga, hover above the mat, chest a few inches above the mat. 3, 2, 1, flip the toes and push up. Upward facing dog. Press back. Downward facing dog. Right leg comes up, this time across the body to the left elbow, hinging forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, zipper down, drop the knee to the wrist, pull it back to the elbow, and down and up for 3, for 2, for 1. We're going to come to fallen triangle. So from here, just kick the right foot out to the left side of your body, lift yourself up, extend the left arm, push the left hip up in the air. Good, bring that left hand back down, swing the right leg up high overhead, swing it forward, warrior 1. Inhale, exhale, find the drishti point, warrior 2. Inhale, exhale, side angle bend. Now, bring yourself to the floor, bend that front knee, and now here's the option for the bind. So you're working on that really open chest. If you can, you reach the right arm through and you grab the hand, the opposite hand, so you're bound. If you found yourself all rounding over in this, I would prefer you not to do it. You really want to stay open. And then those of you who want to come to bird of paradise, you hop the left foot to the top of the mat. You're going to balance on your left as you begin to rise up. You've got to keep the bind. You could have a towel or something bridging it. And then once you get stable here, if you want, extending the right leg. Staying as lifted as possible. Mine's not the most beautiful bird of paradise in the world, but it's mine, so I love it. If you're just still in your side angle bend, just stay there, hold it. Keep breathing. Those of you in bird of paradise, bring that foot back down to the mat. With as much grace as possible, step the left foot back. Find yourself back in your side angle bend. Everybody reach yourself up. Straighten the front leg. Reverse triangle, left hand behind the back. Right arm comes up, give yourself a stretch through the side body. And then cartwheel that hand overhead. Right foot steps back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Up dog. And down dog. Taking a breath. Last side. Left leg comes up. Hinging forward to the right elbow for 5. For 4. 3. 2. Last one, zip to the wrist and back up. Drop down, zipper up. I'm going to try to end with some Pilates, but I wanted to make sure you got some core work, so that's what this is. One more time, now kick that left foot out. Rotate over, right arm lifts up, right hip pushes up. Fallen triangle. And release that right hand down to the mat. Swing that left foot all the way back up. And then forward into Virabhadrasana 1. Holding for a breath. Find your drishti point. Open up. Virabhadrasana 2. Holding for a breath. Hinging forward, coming to your side angle bend. You can go directly into the bind if you want. Left hand reaches back. Right arm grabs it. So again, you do you. You're either up on your thigh, your hand is on the block or on the floor, you're coming to the bind. And if you're in the bind and you want to do bird of paradise, we are going to step the right foot forward. It'd be nice if I could do that one step. Take some 2. Find some stability here first. Press into that right foot. Coming up to standing. Again, find stability here first. And then if you can extend that left leg, you may do so. Find a point to focus on in front of you at eye level, not on the floor, not on the ceiling. Holding it. And again, if you're in side angle bend, you're just holding there. When you're ready, bring that foot back down to the mat, step the foot back, finding side angle bend. Everyone is now together. Push yourself up, straighten the front leg, reverse your triangle, and hinge over. Step the left foot back. Last chaturanga of the night. Downward facing dog. We're going to jump forward, or you can step forward, and we're going to come to our deep squat. So jumping your feet out to the edges of the mat, toes out, heels in, sit up nice and tall. If you are uncomfortable here, you can put a block under you. That's fine. Your elbows are pressing out through your hips, and you're growing tall. So the reason you would want a block under you is if you find yourself kind of in one of these positions, because that would help you to lift your chest. If your heels are off the mat, that's totally fine. A lot of people find that that is the case. I mean, we're here, so if anyone wants another challenge pose, you can come to crow or to crane. So crow and crane are very, very, very similar. Both of them are balance poses. So basically, crow, you're going to work with your knees on your triceps. And like I always say, you can just come to here and work on finding that weight in your wrists. If you want, you can begin to lift the feet up. If you want to work on crane, your arms ideally are straighter in crane, so your knees come up to your armpits. And then you lift up into crane. This is a training, this is training for handstand, which I cannot do free of the wall. But some people are really clever and they can push up to handstand from here. If you're in crow and crane, come on back to your squat. And then everybody come out of that. Oh, wow, ladies, that was a lot. Bird paradise. Have to get you nice and warm for that one. All right. Let us do, I'm going to do a little bit of Pilates to actually kind of stretch. So we're going to do spinal roll up. So roll yourself down, bend your knees, do one round with knees bent and then give the option with legs extended. We're going to pulse forward 3 times on the spine stretch forward. So arms are straight up from shoulders. Take a nice inhale. On your exhale, pull yourself up. Slowly is harder, faster is easier. Extend the legs, take an inhale, and then rounded spine so the hands stay long as you exhale, exhale, exhale. Bend the knees, pull the belly button in, roll yourself down. If that was easy, go ahead and straighten your legs. If it was hard, leave your knees bent. Everyone inhale, exhale, roll up. Inhale, 3 pulses, exhale, exhale, exhale. Notice my hands are high, I'm not collapsing, stay nice and lifted. Inhale, rolling down 1 vertebra at a time. Inhale. Exhale, knees bent or straight, roll up. Inhale, exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, sit up tall. Bend the knees if you're doing so. Pull the belly button in. Roll yourself all the way down. 3 more times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, belly button in, rolling down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, 3, 2, 1. Bend your knees if you need to, rolling up. Exhale, everyone roll down. If your legs are kicking up, if you're falling down, that's why you should have knees bent. Form is important. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, roll down. And stretch out, reach arms overhead, reach legs down below. Good. Bend your left knee across your right ankle, across your left thigh. Push that right knee away from your body, trying to keep your hips square in the floor. Bring your hands behind your head. And we're going to crunch across the body. I want you to keep your elbows super, super wide. Inhale, lift and crunch. So it's a twist, but your elbows are staying wide. I'm not trying to, crunch around my head here. Crunch up and down So it's inhale, exhale, back to the mat. Really twist as you come up. And 5, 4, keep pressing out with the knee because you're getting a bit of a hip opener here. 2, last 1. Keeping yourself right where you are, we're going to crunch to this knee. If you want to have one hand down and just keep your right arm behind your head, you can also do that. We're going to lift up and reach this elbow towards this knee. And down. And down. Exhale. And 6. Getting into these obliques. 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1. Releasing that, switching sides. Right knee on the mat, left knee crosses over. Actively push that knee away. You can leave this right hand right where it is. The left hand can hang out or it can go behind the head. Inhale, twist across. Really trying to lift up and twist over. Up and twist over. Intentionally not going super fast here. 5, 3, 2, last 1. Release that, switch hands, left hand behind the head. Again, both hands can stay back if you wanted. Inhale, exhale, side bend, and down. Crunch up and down. And 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1. Release that, palms into the mat, both feet in the mat. Press in, lift the hips, knees parallel, palms in the mat. Really roll the shoulders down and back. Take a deep breath, expanding the belly. Rock up on the balls of your feet and back down. Rock up and down, up and down. 3, 2, come up and hold the balls of your feet. Walk your feet a little closer to you if you need to. Lift up just a little bit higher. Squeeze, really contract the glutes as they lift up, 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 up. 1 more inhale. Exhale, lower it down. And we have time for an inversion. So if you've got your block handy, you could come back to that same supported bridge we were just doing here, and you could put the block under you. Well, we weren't doing supported bridge. You could put the block under you and support it. You could go legs up the wall. You could put a block under you and lift your legs straight up from hips. You could work over, I'm going to kick my table, and plow. You could come up and shoulder stand. Tara and anyone else who wants to, I'll talk you through headstand if anyone wants to do Shirshasana. All right, so pick your inversion, and if you want to do headstand, we can practice that. If you don't, do another one. All right, so it's your option. I'm going to work with my hands clasped behind my head on my forearms. I find this more stable, but you certainly don't need to do this. You could have your hands here, and you could work very similar to what we were doing in Crow, Bakasana, and you bring your knees onto your triceps. So if you know you don't want to go up into a headstand, you can maybe just work here, that's fine. I mean, I said I was going to do it from forearms, but I'm here, so I'm just going to do it from here. So the key with your headstand, you're pressing into your hands, you're using your arms and your shoulders. We don't kick into headstand. So maybe you just come into a little bitty ball. And then if you rolled over, it wouldn't hurt so bad. You'd be okay. Maybe you lift those knees up. Trying to stack your knees and hips more or less. Maybe you just stay there. And if you want, extending the legs all the way up. Squeezing the glutes. Squeezing the legs. Key is making sure you're on the very, very, very top of your head, the crown of your head. So if you feel like right now you're towards the back or towards the front, next time try to set it up differently. Stay up for as long as you want. And then come to child's pose. So you can work on that for a moment. Those of you who are in another version of inversion, I'm going to join you. If your legs are lifted, whether you're in headstand, shoulder stand, or legs up the block or legs up the wall, if you want further hip opening, you could drop those legs open. You could also work with one leg up and one leg down, so you're like in plow and shoulder stand. Your option. If you are still working on headstand, go ahead and come down and come to your child's pose. Those of you in shoulder stand, go ahead and lower your legs overhead into plow. And then everybody who's in plow, roll yourself down. Those of you with blocks under you, take out the blocks. Those of you in child's pose, roll onto your back, and everybody come to a little ball, pegging your knees into your chest. Take a deep breath. And then we will all do fish. Bring your hands under your body, reaching your hands towards your heels, rolling shoulders under your body. So you can just stay here, chest is nice and open. If you want, propping yourself up on your forearms, dropping your head back, opening chest, making sure your head hits the floor, or you've got a block behind you. You don't want your head dangling in space. Take a couple breaths here. Opening the chest and shoulders, opening the throat. Really good for your thyroid. And release that. Bring the knees into the chest again. Drop your knees down to one side, cactusing your arms, turning your head towards the other side. So this is more modified with your knees stacked. If you need more of a twist, straighten the bottom leg and let the top leg come all the way across. Breathe into the low back. Rolling back to center, shifting the hips, dropping the knees to the other side, and then same option. You can stay right here. If your knees are way up in the air, you want to stay here. If you need more of a stretch, drop that extended, lower the extended leg, top leg comes across, looking over the opposite shoulder. And coming back to center, stretching the arms overhead, stretching the legs below. Finishing with happy baby, grabbing your ankles or your feet, giving yourself a little rock from side to side. Bring the soles of the feet together and bring them down to the mat for a supine butterfly. Option here to cactus the arms for opening the chest and shoulders. Option to bring the hands down by the side, nice and neutral. Or if you want that sort of comfort position of one hand on abdomen, one hand on chest, you can do that. You decide. And just take a few breaths here while your breathing slows down, while your heart rate slows down. So take maybe 2 or 3 deep inhales and blow it out really slowly through your lips. Do that a few times. It should really help your heart rate slow down and help your breath slow down. And once you feel nice and calm, allow yourself to relax. And at any point that you feel like you want to, you can transition this to Savasana. Try to just focus on your breath. Allow your eyes to gaze the backs of your eyelids. And if your mind wanders, bring it back to the breath and maybe count the breath. So 1 inhale and 1 exhale is 1. Next inhale exhale is 2. Breathing in energy, healing, and relaxation to those areas where you have tension. Exhaling and letting them go. Begin to deepen the breath again, consciously taking a long inhale through the nose, a long, slow exhale through the nose. Imagine breathing all the way down to fingers and toes. Exhaling any tension all the way down your limbs. And begin to allow that breath to reawaken you, wiggling fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles, letting your head go from side to side. And then when you're ready, drawing your knees towards your chest and rolling yourself onto your side. Maybe resting your head on an extended arm, pausing for a moment here. And keeping your eyes closed, pressing yourself up. Coming to that same seated position we had at the beginning. Lifting through chest, abdomen, ribs, sitting tall. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and let it go. And again. This time as you inhale, extend the arms upwards. Press the palms together. Exhale. Bring the hands down to heart center. Om Shanti Om. I wish you all peace. Namaste.
Namaste.